is Austin Greathouse with Callie, and welcome to our webinar on using Moodle. This is going to be presented by our guest, Professor Vernellia Randall, University of Dayton School of Law. Just a little bit of a background about the Callie webinars. They're produced by the Center for Computer-Assisted Legal Instruction at www.callie.org. We do these not necessarily every Friday, but on Fridays at 3 p.m., and they're a free service to our Callie member schools. And we'd love your feedback on these, on suggested topics, or if you'd like to volunteer like Professor Randall has, please shoot me an email right down there at the bottom of that slide. So if you want to keep up with webinar announcements and other Callie updates, I suggest you follow our blog. We also have a Twitter feed, which is Callie Law School, and you can also check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/callie.org. I try to keep those updated with announcements on future webinars, so check those out. Also, this is being recorded on our Blip TV page at callievideos.blip.tv. We have a pretty nice archive now of past episodes available, so if you want to check those out, you should, and this one will be up there hopefully by the end of today after we record it. Also, I'll suggest some videos, past webinars, or another video we have at callievideos.blip.tv. One is on free alternatives to course management software. This is by Sarah Glassmeyer, University of Kentucky Law Librarian. She goes over how to use blogs and wikis as a course management system, so I definitely recommend that. And also, of course, you should check out while you're there our lesson link video, which is about 2 minutes long. That shows you how to create a lesson link so that you can post those to your course system. So upcoming webinars. Next week I'm going to go over how to promote Callie lessons at your school, so you can have ways to proactively inform your students about Callie lessons, which hopefully will cut down on the amount of questions you get as a Callie rep about the authorization code and registration and things like that. Also, we encourage questions and comments during the webinar, so if you can hear me now, you can raise your hand. If you could do that, there should be a little hand icon. So you guys are finding it there. That's one way to ask a question, and I can put you on live if you raise your hand like that, and you can ask the question of Professor Randall in person. You can also just use the chat feature, the questions function within GoToWebinar, and I'll relay those to Professor Randall. So let's get to our presentation. Professor Vernellia Randall of the University of Dayton School of Law. She's real active, very prolific writer and speaker on issues such as race and healthcare, and we're honored to have her today. So, Professor Randall, if you're ready.
I'm ready, thank you.
All right, I'm going to switch that over to you, and you can take it from there.
Okay, you should be seeing my screen now.
Yep.
I want to thank you, Callie, and for inviting me, and Austin for inviting me. I have been using Moodle for, this will be the beginning of my 3rd year, and I'm really excited about it as an alternative course management tool. I have been in legal education for 20 years, and I was an early adopter of Twin and used Twin extensively. And in fact, they sent out computer programmers to talk with me several times as I identified things that I needed that Twin couldn't do. But it occurred to me in the last couple of years that Twin had, unless they changed the complete format of how they approached things, they probably had reached its limits in terms of being responsive to sort of a social constructionist view of learning. And that view is based on the idea that students construct their own learning, and that what you need to do is provide them the opportunity through communication, through collaboration, through feedback, and using the new technology to do that to learn as best they can. And so I in particular wanted to do peer and self-assessment, and so I began to look for a tool that would allow me to do peer and self-assessments. There's not a whole lot out there. The Blackboard does some, but it's not a very robust feature. And then I found Moodle. And so what I want to do today is show you some of the features, do a quick overview of Moodle, of some of the features in Moodle, and particularly the peer and self-assessment, because one of the issues for us as law professors is how do we provide formative assessment throughout the year on written work, because that's what we're going to grade them on, without overloading ourselves. And I think that Moodle is a platform that provides an alternative. First, I want to play this little introduction for you. So that introduction, I think, provides a good overview of the Moodle, what Moodle is about. And so what I want to do from here is show you some of the features. To say that Moodle is free is a little bit misleading. The software itself is free, and if you have a server that can host it, then you don't have any hosting fees. But you actually will have to either host it yourself or find someone who is hosting it. My son, Professor Vernellia Randall at FAMU, and I decided to host Moodle ourselves. First, we felt as first adopters we could really play with Moodle in a way that you can't when you're on someone else's server. And so we set up a site and a Moodle hosting service called lawschoolmoodle.org. And this is where our courses are hosted. And this is the top page when you come. Now, you see more than you normally see because I'm signed in and I'm an administrator. And as an administrator, you see the site administration and you see a lot of the courses. If you were a person who wasn't enrolled in any courses, you would see a page that tell you would have to log in. And then you would see the courses that are available to you in particular. The key shows that these courses require an remote enrollment key, and they're locked, so you can't go into a locked course. This, however, is a sample course that I put up for the purpose of showing you all what a blank course looks like. Actually, I didn't mean to click on that. I actually have a sample. So this is a blank course. I'm going to turn the editing off so you will see. So this is what Moodle does is not make any decisions for you. Every decision that can be made by a teacher should be made by a teacher. Even the 1, 2, 3 that you see there is a decision that I have already made. How many topics, how many weeks do you want this to run? Sections do you want? You can have from 0, literally 0 to 50 some odd sections or topics or weeks. Now, I'm going to turn the editing back on so that you can see the choices that you get to make. When you set up a new sample course, you automatically get a news forum. And that forum, I usually rename it as an announcement forum from faculty so that only the faculty can put in information there. So Moodle has numerous activities that you can use. You can do traditional assignments in terms of having students do assignments, but you can also use chat. Choice is sort of like a question, a hot question that you want to ask. You can develop databases and have students put into the database like you would with some of Microsoft database. Discussion forums is just that, a robust, very robust discussion forums. Glossaries, you can have your students develop over the course glossaries. Hot potato quizzes, I have to admit, I don't know what that is. I haven't used it. And journals, you can have your students journal on a particular topic or on the course. LAMs, I'm not sure what that is, so I haven't used it. Lesson is an activity that's similar in Cali in terms of how it is functioned. Questionnaire, you can develop a questionnaire that you have students answer. It's not a quiz. It's just like collecting data, information from the students. You can have a quiz. SCLOM, I'm not sure what that is. Survey, you can, this is a particular type of survey, and it is not what you think of as a survey. That's more like the questionnaire. You can have a wiki on here if you want your students to do a wiki. And the workshop is the peer and self-assessment tool. I'm going to go into some detail on forums, glossary, quiz, and workshop, because those are the 4 things that I use the most right now. Then, of course, you can add a resource, which you can have a text page, a web page, a link to a file, a link to a website. You can develop your own directories that have a source of information, and then you can link to the directory itself, so that all you do, instead of putting individual links to individual files, you put a link to the directory, and then all the resources that you want to go into that directory. Then add an IMS content package. Not sure what that is because I haven't used it. So this is what a blank Moodle looks like. This eye over here will make a topic invisible to the students. That is, you will see it, you can work on it, but they can't see it at all. If you want everything visible, you can highlight the ones that they're supposed to be working on, so that the students know, okay, we have this 4 or 5 subject matters, but we're only working, this is the one we're working on. Or you can set up the situation where you show only one topic, so that you jump to the different topics, and you actually can name these topics. So in the jump to will be the name of the topic. Okay, so I'm going to take you through my course. This is how my course looks, and you can see it's quite a bit busier than the sample course. I do all the things that Twin and others do, which is you can have access to who is on office hours. You can have links to your syllabus. In fact, I have a student that's online right now. That's what this says, or has been online in the last 10 minutes. Messages to me are show here, and they show to the student, and a calendar. I have my announcements to the class, and I don't allow anyone to post in this but me, so that students know that something in this forum is from me, and they should keep up with it. I also have a student posting for their student questions. Now, I use forums a lot, and these little double heads, what I want is the students to be talking to each other, not to me. And so I use a lot of forums. I have actually give one credit of their grade is in this, and so for a 3-hour class, I only meet 2 hours, and they're expected to spend the other time on this Moodle doing the work in Moodle. And as a consequence, 1/3 of their grade comes from working within the context of this Moodle. I want to move down to week 4. I actually like the jump to features better, but I want to show you several things that I use. I use a discussion forum. Moodle discussion forum allows you to students have to post one discussion topic before they can see anybody else's answer or discussion topic, and then I require them to respond to at least 2 every week. And so, as you can see, I also put them, Moodle allows you to put them into groups. Right now, you're seeing all the participants in my class, but I could just see the October 8th group. And so these are the people who were in the October group and their response to each other. And you can set it up where they can see it or they cannot see separate groups. I set it up where they can't see other groups because it's overwhelming. The amount of interchange among the students can be overwhelming for the students. I wanted you to take a look at an exchange among this group on the worthy poor. So one student posts that she didn't like the use of the term the worthy poor, and so there's a whole exchange among 4, 5, 6 different students on this whole phrase of the worthy poor. A kind of exchange that I can never get in a class, but I routinely get on Moodle because A, Moodle is designed that way, and B, I require it and grade on it. As you can see, there are ratings here, and the students' responses rated. I tell them what I rate them on, and we go from there. So Moodle, I want to go back to, Moodle offers a lot of different forum options. And so you can do a traditional forum, you can do a question-answer forum, you can do a forum where everybody has to post one thing. The idea of what constitutes a discussion forum expands, and so different classes will be able to utilize it in different ways. I also, so the forums, as I said, I use forums extensively. I almost always have a discussion forum on the reading for that class. Then also I will put up specific questions that I want them to discuss about, much like I would in a classroom, except that the discussion is all online and back and forth between them. The other activity that I like a lot is glossary. I require them to identify at least one term, a concept, or idea from that lesson and define it, and then read all the terms of their groups and rate them, and to provide comments. And so what you see here is for Medicaid, the terminologies that people defined. There's two reasons for that. One, it makes them think about learning the new language, learning the language of the area of law that we're talking about. They do that by identifying their own terms and their own definition, but reading other terms. And they also are beginning to critique how well others are doing in performing this task. I usually have a glossary for every lesson, and then I have a master glossary that I import all the terms into for the course. The other activity that I use a lot is I have my students do a written problem for every class. In fact, they're not prepared for class if they don't do the problem. They turn it online. The students do self and peer assessment. And this, to me, is worth the time to get involved in Moodle. First of all, you can set up your workshop, which is just peer and self-assessment. You have all kinds of choices. Do you want to grade for assessment? That is, do you want to give the students a grade for how well they met your idea about how the work should be assessed, or the assessment tool? So it's not about their submission, it's about their assessment. And then a grade for the submission itself. I find that it's a good idea to give a lot of points 50, at least 50, for assessment, because otherwise students don't take it very seriously. And my first year, when I was doing 90-10, they sort of just said and did anything. Now that I'm doing 50, and they really lose points when they don't assess very well, then it makes them pay more attention. You cannot, if you don't want to grade things, you don't have to grade them. If you want to use a cumulative, if you want to use criterion, if you want to use a rubric, you can do this all in Moodle. How many, the number of comments or rubrics, anywhere from 0 to 20. You can have attachments. You can allow resubmissions or not. This is how the comparison of assessments to your assessments. So are you, and this sort of dictates the grade as well. And you manipulate, I actually manipulate this if I think they're grading too soft or too easy. The weight for the teacher assessment can be 0 to 10. If you do a teacher, if you give 0, it means that you actually aren't going to do a teacher assessment. You're just doing self and peer assessment. Legal tables is just the 3 best papers are written, and then of course hide the name. So you can then make this all anonymous to the students. In setting this up, one of the issues is making sure that you set up the start of assessments after the start of submissions, or you'll get some quirky problems that come from that. I didn't mean to go back to that. Let me go back. Okay, so what I want to go back into that, because I still had a couple of things I wanted to show you about that workshop. So the current phase, this is where they assessed an example. So every student, what I do is put up a model, and the model's not always perfect. Sometimes it's a good model, sometimes it's not. And then every student has to assess that model, and then their grade, their assessment grade is then the formula factors in how well they were in assessing the model to come up with a grade for them on the course itself. I want to show you the grading components. Now this is all what the faculty member sees. This is not at all what the student sees. They see a lot of this, but obviously not other student information. And so you can see where this person, the assessments, they did 2 assessments. This is their assessment grade, 31.7 out of 50. The teacher's assessment, and I have to say I don't do these assessments. I have a teaching assistant that does all my assessments, and I have a teaching assistant that reads all my postings. And my teaching assistant did, in the beginning, of course, I keep very good track of what they're doing and reading their stuff. They also, I highlight discussions that are going on that they think I should pay attention to for one reason or another. This is the legal table information that the students get back. The students can click on each one of these. They won't see the person's name, but they'll be able to read the paper. And so for a student that's having a problem and wants to do better, when they say to me, how can I improve my grade, I say to them, have you read all of the 3 legal assessments? How are they different from yours? What could you do different based on reading those? And so there's a lot of information for students to be able to improve their own work. Now, you may be thinking, so how do they know how to assess? Well, there is an assessment form that you have to put together. And this assessment form is based on my idea. They're blank, so you put in whatever you want. And you have lots of choices in terms of how to grade. I mean, you can have yes or no. You can have 3 to 5 grading points, you can have 10 grading points, you can have a 100-point grading points. I think 5 grading points works well for what I'm doing with students. And so they go in, and there's a general rule like here of what they're supposed to do, and then there's usually specific information that is unique, like issues or law that is unique to that particular problem that they should do. The last thing that I wanted to show you is quizzes. I ask my students to do a weekly reflection over their own learning, and this is graded in the sense that they get a pass-fail grade. So I ask them to think about the past week and what is the most important thing you learned, and then the subject area change and why. Be thoughtful, be reflective, be specific, and it has to be at least 100 words, because I found that when I didn't put a minimum word requirement, students would give me 3 words, you know, and so I want them to be more thoughtful. I ask them to relate the substantive area to diversity issues. I almost always, diversity, teaching how the law impacts race, gender, et cetera, and vice versa, is an important goal. And so I always ask them a question that forces them to have to think about what we just studied and how diversity issues will be impacted. Then I asked them, because in healthcare law, we're in the middle of this healthcare reform, I asked them about healthcare reform, and then I asked them if they have any unanswered questions, and if they do, I ask them to post their questions. I take their questions and I post them in the FAQ area, and I encourage them. I don't always answer them, because I encourage students to answer each other questions. So this is Moodle and how I use it. I do wanted to say that the cost depends on where you host it and how much they charge for hosting. And if you host it on your own server, then you don't have any hosting fee. You may have support issues. This software requires you, like using any new software, requires you to be comfortable with learning how to use new software. Questions, comments?
Yeah, we do have some questions. So, one, that you know of, is there any way to do course and faculty evaluations with Moodle?
Yeah, you can do course and faculty evaluations with Moodle.
Okay. Are they anonymous?
You can do them anonymous if you want them that way.
Okay.
I mean, there's always a way to find out, but you can set it up to be anonymous.
Okay. Yeah, that was a question from...
Questionnaire. Basically, the questionnaire would be a tool that I use, and the questionnaire allows you to do anonymous, to you know, get that information anonymously.
Got it. Okay. I have a question. You mentioned you host this yourself. Have you found that complicated? Do you think?
No, not really. I'm a first adopter, and so I found that I have learned how Moodle works in the early phase when there were setup issues. I had to kind of figure out, you know, where the problem was. Mm-hmm. But one of the reasons I felt comfortable hosting this myself is because I host websites. I have a hosting service where I host websites anyway. I rent a hosting service where I host websites. So to me, the idea of hosting this, we would be happy to talk with anyone who might want to get it hosted on our server, but there's a lot of other servers out there.
Right, right. So for the average professor with no hosting, you know, no idea how to do that, you think they should seek help with their IT?
Yeah, I think first of all I would see if you can host it. I think the best thing to do is see if you can host it on your own server.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if your IT department says, no, we can't host that or we won't host it, then you need to find a hosting. There are several places. We host Law School Moodle. Moodle Room hosts, wait a minute, I think I call myself making a little, these are places that host. Moodle Rooms, Remote Learner, and Classroom Revolution. Remote Learner seems expensive, but they are fully supported. So that means you got any problem at all, you're going to get technical assistance.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The other places is a community support, meaning that unless there's a problem with the server, the people are just hosting it on their site, and you've got to figure out Moodle.
Right.
Okay, and the community support means that generally means that there's a forum where you can post things and ask questions. Moodle.org, actually, I should put that in as I mean, they're incredible. Every time I've posted a question, somebody has answered it like really quickly, as you can expect with millions of users and thousands of sites.
Good. So what kind of feedback have you got from students for this? How do they like it?
They don't, generally speaking. And I think that's largely because I'm a first adopter.
Mm-hmm.
And what they say is, yeah, there's a lot of feedback, and yeah, there's a lot of communication, and they learn things that they never learned, but it's a lot of work.
Right.
And it's not so much the Moodle that's the problem, it's my pedagogy, because I have a pedagogy that is designed to make them accountable. So if you have to post a term because you're going to get graded on it, or you have to respond in the discussion forum because you're going to get graded on it, and then you don't come to class unprepared.
Right.
And so what they find out is that they can't slide in my class like they can slide in many other classes till the end of the semester. Now, I usually don't give an exam. I sort of say, okay, I'm going to put all the work up front, and I don't give an exam at the end. But for students, their main concern. Now, I have to say that that's in courses where students don't get to select me.
Right.
So if I have a course where it's required, then it's about half and half. But I have people who love the pedagogy and who take me every course they can get because they love, and they say, I don't even care that much about the subject, but I love the pedagogy.
Right.
And so in my courses where it's elective, the students like it, and I get high teacher evaluations.
Okay, interesting. I got another question here. Is there any way to use this in conjunction with Twin? Does it have any compatibility there, or?
And I think they're two totally different software, and if you wanted to use it with Twin, you would use Twin for whatever purpose you wanted to use Twin for, and you would use Moodle for whatever purpose you wanted to use Moodle for. The thing that I do miss from Twin is to be able to link to Westlaw documents.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that about does it. We're a little bit over time, so if I didn't get to your question, I apologize. So I want to take this time to thank Professor Randall once again. Do you have anything else to add, Professor Randall?
I hope that if you find this interesting and want to explore it more, and I know that everyone isn't someone who wants to go out and learn everything by themselves, I would be free to do something more than a half an hour on the workshop, how to put them together, how to evaluate them. But I actually feel that it's not that hard. I mean, once you get past the idea that you have to make the decisions, that someone else hasn't made decisions for you, it's really straightforward. This course management tool is used from K through 12 through graduate programs. And so it's designed to be incredibly user-friendly. Thank you.
All right, very good. All right, thanks again, everybody. And once again, thank you, Professor Randall. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you guys next time.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.